Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Javie. This is my wife, Jessica. On this show, we discuss things that we all have to face in order for us to build our faith, and develop our character, and take action towards the life that we want to live.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I absolutely love where this show has gone over the last year. I got to tell you, I just wanted to bring that up today because just watching our new intro.
Yeah, I love intro.
I watch that now in the morning and I just think, oh my gosh, look what we did.
If you guys haven't seen our intro because you guys are just popping in or whatever.
Yeah, take a look at the replay on some of these shows this week. And
we had fun doing it.
We did have fun making it. First things first, we need to make sure you guys are aware of a couple of links. One is the StreamYard link. That is in our private Facebook support group. That's a group for health and wellness. If you're watching this from in there, we can't see your name in the live broadcast when you comment unless you click that link. So make sure you're clicking that link. And then also the YouVersion Bible app link. That is in all the descriptions wherever you're watching this. If it's YouTube, Facebook, in our group, wherever. That's going to take you directly to the YouVersion Bible app or Bible.com if you're on desktop. And that way you can follow along on the study that we're using for this 10-part series. This is a 10-part series. We're on part 4 today. And so we'll be doing this series next week too. And so this is all about finding peace during any battle that we're going through, really, or any struggle in life. But really, in particular, we like to focus in on health here, obviously. But when your health is under attack, it seems to attack everything in your life. So that's something that we do like to focus on, because it seems like when you address issues with your health and you focus in on finding peace and you finding tranquility during that, everything else sort of follows after that. So that's something that we like to focus on here. Speaking of finding peace, though, we saw this amazing story this morning.
Oh, yeah.
We truly wanted to share with you because this is an individual who is finding peace, not only in his own life, but helping children find their peace. And so there's just no greater thing you could be doing. So let me bring this up and share this with you. It's just incredible.
Good job.
Peter and Anthony Mutabazi, father and son.
Set a timer for 7 minutes.
Dad Peter creating a safe home, something he didn't always have as a child himself. Born in Uganda to an abusive dad, Peter says he grew up as poorest of the poor. Running away at just 10 years old, Peter struggled on the streets until a good Samaritan took him in.
My childhood was difficult, but somehow it gave me empathy. It gave me an opportunity to really think beyond the box.
No, it's hard to.
After college in the UK, he moved to the US to work for the nonprofit organization World Vision.
Here's what I think.
And Peter wanted to help children in the way he'd been helped. Since 2017, Peter has fostered 13 children.
And one thing that no one ever prepared me was to say goodbye. It's the hardest to say goodbye.
Anthony was placed with him in 2018. Anthony's adoptive parents had abandoned him at age 11.
He has no family. He had nowhere else to go.
Anthony asked if he could call Peter Dad. And in 2019, he was officially adopted.
So I opted for the one, to give him a forever family.
This March, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Peter opened his home again, welcoming in another foster child.
Come here.
And they also welcomed a new dog, Simba, to their growing family.
My joy and my heart is to make them known, is to go and say, you matter, you're special. And that's my goal, to lift up those who've been forgotten and to say, you're special, you matter.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the thing is he's saying you're special, you matter, you're known. Everybody wants to know that.
Right.
And that's something that God's saying to us while we're battling these things. And it really touched us that that's what God's saying. You're special, you matter, and you're known.
Yeah.
I've known you since before you were born.
And what a great individual.
Yeah.
That stepped up. I know we all, we talk about these things and we talk about how we want to do more for our community and people and things like that. But many of us don't back up our words.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's not pointing the finger.
It's pointing the finger at somebody who's doing an amazing job. And
Right.
it's not to shame anybody else. It's just really, we all need to hear more good news. talk about some people doing that.
Exactly. I think that's why we want to bring this forward,
Mhm.
because we want to highlight people and things that are happening in this world that we want to highlight the people that are doing the good things.
Mhm.
Like I said yesterday, in the midst of evil, in
Yeah.
the midst of terrible, terrible things. Look,
Right.
that little boy, his parents abandoned him.
His adoptive parents abandoned him. Like you imagine you've been abandoned twice. Like we chose you, but we don't choose you anymore.
That is terrible.
It's bad.
Right? So, yet God put this on this man's heart
Mhm.
to help the orphans, help the children that don't have anything. That is beautiful. That man's going to have a special blessing upon his life in heaven.
Right. Well, and the thing is maybe we all can't do all of like something like that. But what about your own kids? What about kids in your neighborhood? What about kids in your family? Nieces, nephews, friends, kids? Why can't we all just know that we're being watched? Like they're watching us. They're watching us for the example. They're watching us for a beacon, for the light. They're watching us for the light. So when you're finding peace during these battles, while you're listening to this devotional this week, think about maybe you're not just finding peace for you, but for those around you,
Mm-hmm.
And if they can find peace through you, and they can seek the light because of your example, then you become the impact that you were meant to be. So that's part of the reason we wanted to share that, is just the impact that he's making is going to create that in these kids, and these kids are going to go on and do some of the same types of things. So it's just a domino effect. It's great. All right. Were you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. Okay, so this is 5 essential beliefs for a peaceful heart. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is the 5 essential beliefs for finding peace. If you're a Christian, God alone is in charge of your life. He's your security, and he's never been out of control over his creation for one fraction of a second since the beginning of time. He hasn't lost one measure of his power or might. He's just as omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and all-loving today as he was at the dawn of man. Though we may not always understand his purposes, understanding the ways of God always leads to an understanding that he'll act in a way that brings about eternal blessings for his children. Through the years, I've discovered 5 essential beliefs for a peaceful heart. I challenge you to take a long, hard look at what you believe about God. Your peace is determined by the degree to which these truths are embedded in your soul. So belief number 1 is that God is absolutely sovereign. Recognizing and accepting the truth that God is sovereign over everything is vital for your inner peace. This means that nothing related to you is beyond his watchful eye and loving care. Colossians 1:17. That belief number 2 is that God is your provider. From cover to cover, the Bible has a clear message that God is the one who provides for all your needs. No need too massive, too problematic, or severe for Jesus to meet it. The Bible tells us those who seek the Lord shall not lack any good thing. Psalms 34:10. Belief number 3 is God made you the way you are for a purpose. This is a big one. I think people think that God made a mistake with them, or messed up, or it wasn't intentional for them to be who they are, and that's just not true. There are many things about your life in which you have no control. Accept those things as part of the way God created you. Your race, your culture, language, nationality, sex, and many attributes of your physical being are God's choices. He also gave you talents, aptitudes, intelligence, personality, and spiritual gifts that, taken as a whole, make you a unique person on the earth to fulfill the plan that he has for you. Belief number 4 is God has a place where you truly belong. God created you for fellowship with himself and with others. Trust him to help you gain a strong sense of belonging to him and to provide for you a family of fellow believers to whom you can belong. Then, as you grow in him, reach out to others. In 1 Peter 2:9. Belief number 5 is God has a plan for your fulfillment. For real inner peace, a person needs to know that he or she is competent, able, capable, and skilled at doing something. There's a wonderful sense of peace that comes when you know you're capable of putting in a good performance or doing a good job, in Ephesians 2:10. So when you accept these 5 essential beliefs at the core of your being and trust that God is working in you and on your behalf, inner peace will truly be yours. All right, let's look at the verses. He existed before anything else, and he holds all creation together, Colossians 1:17. Psalm 34:10 says, even strong young lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in the Lord will lack no good thing. Psalm 139:13 through 16. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. Wow, that's incredible. 1 Peter 2:9 says, but you are not like that, for you are a chosen people. You are royal priests, a holy nation, God's very own possession. As a result, you can show others the goodness of God, for he called you out of the darkness into his wonderful light. Ephesians 2:10 says, for we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Jesus Christ, so we can do the good things he has planned for us long ago.
Why don't we go back and just like we did yesterday?
Yeah, I'm going to bring that up.
And just go line by not
go
line
over
by
the
line,
five beliefs.
Yeah, let's go over the 5 beliefs again.
All right. So belief number 1 is God is absolutely sovereign. So sovereign just means he is the absolute ruler over everything, and he's the creator of everything. I mean, he's sovereign, the highest power.
Exactly.
The highest authority. And, a lot of people would look at that as negative, like, a power trip. But I love that God is who he is and that he is in control of everything. So no matter what's going on.
Including your inner peace.
Yes, right? Exactly.
So
exactly.
he's sovereign over that. He's in charge. He keeps his eye on us. He watches over us.
Mm-hmm.
And he truly loves us.
Right.
And that's the truth is that very first belief, I think that's hard for some of us to grasp a hold of.
Mm-hmm.
How can he love me after I did this, this, and this?
Right.
How can he love me
when I'm not perfect?
When I'm not perfect, or I continually fail him. I continue to not live up to my full potential. Okay. The thing is none of us are perfect.
Right.
And he still loves us. He doesn't, now look, you have to be able to separate sin from his love, right? He hates sin, but he doesn't hate you.
Right.
Even though you committed that sin, doesn't mean that he hates you. It's the action that's not of him. It's not he hates. Okay. That's why he wants you to come to him to heal. It's just, again, we compare this to our children all the time. Okay. We love our children, but when they are rambunctious and they disobey and they do things that they're not supposed to be doing, that gets us upset, right?
Right.
Because they're not listening, or they're doing something they know better. And we do that as adults. We do that as everyday people. But it doesn't take the love that we have for our children away.
You're getting cut off. You should move your head.
Oh, I didn't know you brought that up.
Well, I brought it up here, but now we're little. And then if I bring it here, you're cut off. Okay. We'll do it here. Okay. So number 2 is God is your provider. He's not a genie. You're not like, bring me my food, send me money, give me a big house. Like, and then you're like, snap, snap. And then he does it. It's not like that. God always makes sure that we have what we need though. Right. He always, it's not just like, oh, well, you'll never have anything above what you need. It's just going to be scraping by. Like, it's not like that. God's our provider for many things of abundance. He's our provider for, like you said, peace. And he's our provider of healthy and fulfilling relationships. He's our provider of money. He's our provider of our home and our clothing and our church and our families and all of that. But Sometimes he's our provider of something in abundance because we're ready. Sometimes he's our provider of only what we need because we're rebelling.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's our provider of discipline because we need it. But he's our provider. He's the one that provides everything, and so we can ask for more. We can ask for what we need to be equipped. Somebody the other day was talking about, it was so interesting. People talk about when they say God's our provider, they dive into like money's the first thing. He provides money because money rules everything on this earth, right? And this person said something so pivotal to me that changed the way I thought about, because I already have been doing a lot of work over the years about how I felt about money and my beliefs and all of that and how God feels about it. And so I felt like I was in a really good place. Like I understand that money is necessary and it's good and that it needs to be provided for, the things that we need, and that it's not bad as long as I'm not worshiping money over God. Like that's the root of all evil, right? But this person brought another level. He said, I pray for things like, God, I need $30 million. And he goes, now that sounds ridiculous without context, but listen to this. So he goes, I would have never said that, but I was talking to one of my mentors the other day and he goes, he said, what do you need? This person was talking to his mentor. His mentor said, what do you need? And he goes, well, I need the clothing on my back and food, I guess, and water. He goes, no. What is God called you to do? What is it that you cannot live without doing? And he's like, well, I want to. And it was this whole dream of helping kids in a camp and this big calling that God had put on his life. He felt very called to do this. Okay. Called, you can't live without doing this now. God has put it on your heart. You don't feel right without even trying to accomplish this thing that is God's work, right? And this is a deep feeling for you. So he goes, right. So how much is that going to cost? And he said, well, and he added it up and he's like $30 million, He goes, then you need $30 million. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean? I need, he goes, you're the vehicle through which God has called this to happen. And if you're the vehicle and you're the person that's supposed to do this, then you would need to have the $30 million in order to pay for the thing that God's calling you to do. Now, when we are responsible and we're ready and God knows we're going to use it for that, then he gives it to us.
Right. I think
for the calling. Does that make sense? So,
I think sometimes we think that it's just poof. It's just going to happen.
Oh yeah, no.
It's
through our work.
God's calling us to do something.
Yeah.
But you're like, well, I can't. That if I made that kind of money, I can't make that kind of money. Or is it that then focusing on money, and then all of a sudden, God, you see someone else doing it. God called them, and they're doing it.
Right.
Why? Because all right, that's where you're going to stay. Okay, fine.
Then I'll have someone else do it.
Because it's not about the money.
Yeah, and it's not about you.
But we're so focused on it. We're so dug into it's about the money, and because it's about the money, that would then mean it's evil.
Or that I'm evil for thinking about money.
Right. The thing is, and that's how we stay in this poverty mentality. Okay. And again, this whole topic isn't about the money, but this is what people get stuck on is that money being the root of all evil. That's if
you worship money.
That's if that you were greedy and that you weren't what am I looking for? You weren't generous. You weren't giving to God.
Right. You're hoarding it and all this.
Right.
Well, the reason I bring up money, I want to make sure that's clear. I brought up this story because this is the same for other things besides money. I just went there because, of course, immediately when we say God's our provider, we all go to money. I brought up this seemingly extreme example, $30 million. Like, why am I asking God for that amount? Because I'm asking for him to equip me for the things he's called me to. So if he was calling me to be an amazing wife, and I needed certain things for that. I needed to be a certain person for that. And it seemed impossible for me to become that person, to be the wife or mother that I wanted to be. Like, I need you to help me figure out this addiction, or I need you to help me figure out this issue that I have with my emotions, or I need you to help me figure out this health problem before I can really dig in and be this amazing mom that you think, you're calling me to be, that I feel like it's impossible for me to be. So that's the same thing. It's the same thing. God is the provider of abundance. Doesn't mean just money, but I wanted to use that example of he's the same way in abundance with things he's equipping us for, but he will not equip us. He will not provide the things that we're going to be irresponsible with.
Yes, and that's what I was kind of driving towards
Yeah.
the same point. If God is calling you to something,
Right.
but you're stuck on doing it your way, there's a reason why you never step into his true purpose.
Yeah.
Because you're wanting to do your way. And
then it's not a calling anymore.
Because it says God made a way. It's not saying you made a way.
Right.
God made a way for your purpose, for a purpose.
Right.
Okay. And we often think, well, I can't see myself doing that. Or, yes, I know God's calling me to do that, but this. Why? Because we are putting those roadblocks up.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting those barriers up. We're focused on that limiting belief, right? We limit ourselves, therefore we limit God, rather than opening ourselves up to the possibility and walking towards that purpose, stepping into that purpose, telling ourselves, yes, we can do that. Yes, we can be a better spouse. Yes, we can be a better husband. Yes, I can do this, and this. If God's called you to do it, then you can do it because he's created you and he's created the purpose for you.
Well, and that was I was bringing that up. That's number 3 is God made you the way you are for a purpose. Exactly. And that goes right alongside what we were just saying is that he's creating you for a purpose, but also going to equip you for that purpose, and that he's the provider of all those things. So God has a place where you truly belong. Belief number 4, he's going to provide you a place where you truly belong, whether it's to trust him to help you gain a strong sense of belonging to him, and then to provide for you a family of fellow believers. Now, you ever had that thing where you find your people? I found my people, whether it's online or it's in person or whatever it happens to be. It's funny, we say we found our people, but probably 10% of the time, I hear people actually say that about their real family. Like, it's so funny how, and then we all wonder why our kids are different than us. Like, sometimes they're like, oh, my kid's kind of like, we don't have the same things in common and stuff. But how many people really say like, oh, my family's my people? Like, maybe, but I don't hear that a lot. I hear people talk about, I went out and found my people. Well, that's not a bad thing.
Well, when you said that, I was thinking about, it seems that generations long ago, your people were your family. Family was very important, and there were close families. There are a lot more close families than there are today. Not to say that there wasn't dysfunction.
Yeah, well, there was also a lot of dysfunction.
Okay,
yeah.
But think about now how separated we all are in our own homes. Why? Because we're all in our devices. Our kids are on their games. They're in their own devices. Mom and dad, they get home from work and they're in their computers. Sometimes they bring work home and then they're still on their computers, and they're on 2, 3, 4 devices at once sometimes. And the kids have learned to just isolate themselves. You could have 2 siblings that grow up with one another, and when they get older, they go their separate ways. They have different interests. They have different people. They find their own people rather than their family. And for me, that breaks my heart, because family is really everything. But you see that it's happening more and more. So what does this mean for future generations? Because this generation, oh my gosh, we're absorbed by our devices. The previous generation, it was gaming and the internet, but it's even gotten
it's gotten worse. So much more. Well, I was going to say, so there's 2 sides to this conversation. So you're talking about one side, and I was talking about the other extreme. So you're talking about the issues with where it would be nice if it was the family, but it feels like that's where we're not headed, which is hard because that's really what God would want. That's really what we people would want, However, where I was going with that is in the face of that. This is what this is saying is God will provide you a family of like-minded people, of other believers. There is a family that you belong to when you're in the family of God. Okay. So even if you don't have a family on this earth, if you didn't have the luxury of having this amazing family who rallied around you and everything, and it's like, but you're going to end up with a family if you're looking for that. Now, if you're isolating yourself and you're ostracizing everybody and you're kind of like, you're like that bird lady on Home Alone who's like literally making concerted effort to make sure people don't talk to her. Paint yourself in birds. You can make a point to not have people come around. But this is the thing is that God will provide a family to you. He will provide the support because he understands and created the importance of community. He created the importance of a family. So if that isn't the case for you, he will still provide that. But that's the thing is that he has a place where you truly belong. And if that's not with your family, and that's a tragedy, but that it doesn't mean that you don't have a family. It doesn't mean that you don't have people that will love you. It doesn't mean that God doesn't have a place for you to belong and feel seen and known, like it was talking in the beginning with that gentleman who takes in the foster kids. It's like, he wants them to feel seen and important and loved and known.
Yeah. And
that's what God wants us to feel. And he doesn't just provide that through himself. He provides that through others. And if that's not our immediate family or our biological family, then that's through people he will bring into your life. Right. And so that's what I was trying to say. But you were talking about the other side of it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the last one.
All right. The last one is God has a plan for your fulfillment. So this purpose that he has for you that goes out there in the world and you have this thing that you've been called to do, right? But for real inner peace, a person needs to know that they are competent, able, capable, and skilled at doing something. There's a sense of peace that comes when you know you're capable of putting in a good performance, doing a good job. So what I was going to say earlier is that when we're talking about like God equipping you with the money that you need or equipping you with the relationship or the skills that you need or whatever in order to fulfill these callings that God has put on our lives, there's peace that comes from that. There's this enormous amount of peace that comes from knowing that God's going to give me what I need. He's going to walk with me to do it. He's going to give me support. He's going to give me encouragement. He's going to give me a family around me, right? And he's going to provide a way for me to fulfill that. Mm-hmm. He's going to give me the talents to do it. He's going to make sure that I know I'm capable. Like he's provided everything you need to do all the things he's called you to do already. But our job is to show up. And our problem is that we don't show up, that we don't believe that's true, that we don't believe it's for us, that we don't believe peace is for us sometimes. I think we don't believe peace is for us.
That's true. Yeah. Especially when our whole life's been chaotic.
Yes.
We don't even know what that means.
We're like peace. We have problems sitting on a beach in a hammock and just absolutely unplugging. Like, I don't understand how to just be quiet kind of a thing. We don't understand true peace. And it's like, man, what would that be like? And so when people are like that, it's really something they need to kind of wrap their head around and really dig in and find that with God. So pray about this. Pray that God would show you what he's equipped you with, show you where your place of belonging is, show you how he's going to help you fulfill this calling that he's given you and what he's provided for you already.
Exactly. So, hey guys, I know that we started a little bit late today, but I hope you guys got something out of today. Mm-hmm. I really hope this was a blessing. I hope God spoke to you. If he did, please comment in the comments, even if you're watching this on replay.
Yeah.
We watch your comments. We go back into your comments and we will respond to you. But please hit like and share this with your friends and family. We would really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And here's the thing, we have, I wanted to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. We just got a brand new sponsor yesterday. Christy Madrigal, thank you, dear, jumped in and she sponsored us. So she's one of our amazing sponsors now. She is actually a well-respected police officer in Utah. And is just doing an amazing job over there on the force. So shout out to you, Christy. And then also remember our platinum sponsor, our first platinum sponsor is CL King. And he is just an amazing, amazing man of God who is impacting lives one life at a time, one day at a time, and just through many of his programs. So shout out to you, CL. And you can find him at clkingspeaker.com. So if you want to be a sponsor of our show, if you want to support all of our outreach, our coaching programs, our podcasts, all the things that we're doing, make sure that you jump over to our website at javieandjessicamadrigal.com, and you can choose whatever sponsorship level you'd like. You know, if you want to support us, you can do it for $5 a month, and every little bit counts towards this mission. And you can be a part of that mission by partnering with us. So we greatly appreciate everything you're doing. Another thing also that I wanted to bring up is if you want to have your questions answered on the show, make sure that you email us at support@javieandjessicamadrigal.com, and we'll answer those questions live on the air if it's something that will help everybody out. Otherwise, I will be sure to answer you for sure in email. But yeah, if you wanted to share a question that you know that would help everyone, would benefit the greater good, then I will answer that on the air for sure. And so just send those questions in. And then the last thing I want to bring up is if you have not yet signed up for the 21-day challenge for September, make sure you jump into that. We have a health and wellness challenge where we tackle your nutrition. We hit that fitness, live workouts. You don't even have to think about it. Jump in every day with us. The September 6th challenge. Okay, go to eliteninjaacademy.com/21-day challenge. It's $97 for 3 weeks. We will hit this with you. You will see change. I promise you. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We absolutely love you.
Have a wonderful day.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.